All the pros do it. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Nelly Korda. And yet most amateurs don't even know that it exists. It's the quiet eye. And what your eyes do just before and during the putting stroke can make the difference in whether you sink it or you miss it by a mile. And today I'm going to show you exactly what the quiet eye is, how science proves that it works, and how you can train it into your putting stroke. Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll have a brand new secret weapon for your putting game. So what is the quiet eye? It's not some mystical voodoo secret. It's actually a proven sports science concept. You see, researchers tracked the eye movements of elite performers, and not just golfers. They also tracked basketball players, archers, drivers in F1, and surgeons. And they found one big difference between the pros and the rest. The pros locked their gaze and held it just a little bit longer on a specific point. For basketball players, it was the target. For drivers, it was the line that they were trying to drive on the golf course. For archers, it was their target. For golfers, it was a particular spot where they saw the ball going in the hole, or a particular dimple. Tiger Woods talked about focusing on one specific dimple on the golf ball and holding that for a brief pause just before he makes his stroke. For other golfers, it was the back of the ball. But the point is, they locked their gaze in for a brief moment before and held that spot during the stroke. And amateurs were looking at the ball and the hole and back to the ball and back to the hole and then to their putter head and then to their backstroke and all over the place. And the problem with that is when you don't anchor your vision, your brain doesn't fully lock in to the task. Here's why quiet eyes matter. The researchers said when you quiet your eyes, your brain locks in a stronger motor map of the stroke. To put that in plain English, it gives your brain time to sync what you see with what you do. And if you don't ever lock your eyes on a spot long enough to do that, you're giving your brain insufficient information or confusing information. That's one of the reasons your putting stroke is so inconsistent. If your eyes are bouncing around, your brain is distracted. That's why you feel unsure over putts and you lack confidence and you have doubt. That's why you get shaky over 3 and 4 foot putts. But when your eyes lock in, you feel calm, decisive, and confident. You see, tour pros don't just have better strokes than the rest of us. They literally see putts differently because of this quiet eyes skill. And when you get it down, like I'm about to show you, you'll start to see putts differently and you'll put a lot more of them in the hole. Here's how you can train your eyes to do it. Number one, pick a spot. Maybe you pick the back of the ball. Maybe on really short putts, you pick the point where the ball is going to enter the hole. Maybe you use the line on the ball as the back spot. Bryson DeChambeau talks about lining up his ball and putting his mark on the ball with 3 specific dots. And then on the course, he talks about literally striking a very specific dimple on the ball with his putter. Tiger Woods talks about staring at a specific dimple on the ball. That's where he brings his eye gaze back to. But you got to pick a spot before you start, and you practice with that spot. Once you've chosen a spot where you're going to fix your gaze just before and during the putting stroke, lock in on that spot. And when you practice, you want to hold that for 2 or 3 seconds. You're building the habit. In reality, when you get out on the course, you're not going to be holding your eyes on that spot for 2 to 3 seconds. It's going to be a brief pause. But then once you've locked in and once you make the stroke, there's no darting around, no eyes looking here or there. You keep that focus. And then key, stay anchored at that spot. There's no looking around. You've got to resist the urge to chase the ball with your eyes or to look somewhere else. Hold that spot until after the stroke is over and the ball is gone. Then you can look up, but you hold that spot for a little bit longer, that spot that you were looking at. I've been working on this concept for a long time, and one of the ways I force myself to pick and hold that spot is I took a golf ball and I put a green Sharpie marker, just a dot, in one and only one of the dimples. And I'd go out on the practice green, I'd set that ball down on top of a washer, just a small little washer, and I would stroke the ball focusing on that one dimple, the little green dot, and I would make sure I would not move my eyes until the ball was gone and I could look down in the hole in that washer and see the green grass, just like that dot. Then I was okay to look up, but you've got to hold your gaze there just before and during the stroke. So pick a spot, lock it in, hold your gaze on that for 2 or 3 seconds, and then stay quiet. Resist the urge for your eyes to move anywhere else or dart around. Hold that spot. Go out on the practice green and try this on some 5-footers. Really do it, lock in, hold that spot. You'll find that your misses are a lot closer and you'll make more putts. You also miss to the low side or the amateur side way less. Once you've practiced this and you've got it as a habit, out on the course it just becomes a part of your routine. You go through your green read, you pick your target, you step in, take your setup, you focus your eyes on the point that you've chosen, you hold them there for a brief second, and then you make the stroke, and then after the ball's gone, you look up and watch it go in the hole. No second guessing, no last minute peeks, just trust, focus, and commit. Here's how I do that out on the course. This is a downhill putt with a slight bit of break from my left to right. So I vision in my mind the putt going into the hole right here, about 7 o'clock. Because it's downhill, I imagine a target a little bit short on that line, because that's my hole where I'm aiming. I go back to my ball and I look at that target. I pick an intermediate target, which is a tiny little lighter colored spot in the grass right there in front of my ball. Now that's where I'm going to quiet my eyes on those spots. So, set up over the putt. Entry point, pause, target, pause, intermediate target, pause, dimple on the ball, pause, stroke. And it works perfectly. If you sometimes have doubt and lack confidence, or you feel shaky over short putts, this one change could start saving you strokes right away. It's not about changing your stroke, changing your mechanics. It's about training your brain to see putts like a pro. And anybody can do this. If you like simple, effective putting tips like this and green reading tips like this, then you ought to subscribe to this channel. If you really need help with your putting, you ought to check out my online course, How to Putt the Right Way. In addition to that, give this video a thumbs up, put your comments below, share it with a friend who needs the help. Check out this video on the screen now, and until next time, here's to you, seeing putts differently and rolling more of them into the hole.